What's up, guys? Rick from DFS On Demand here with your betting preview for this week's WGC Championship. Only a handful of golfers in the field, 72 of them. I guess that's more than a handful. So I don't think this is going to take all that much time. This will probably be a quick video, but let's jump into the tournament predictor tool. So this is the tool that I've been showcasing over the course of the last couple of weeks. It is using each golfer's historic performances to try to determine how likely they are to get to the winning score. If you have not seen these videos before, that is the very key part of this. This tool shows you how often, in theory, a golfer is going to get to the winning score. It does not say how often they are going to win. Obviously, more than one golfer could get to our perceived winning score, and both of them aren't going to win the golf tournament. So keep that in mind. But I do want to point this out because a couple of you sent me tweets and screenshots that you hit on Adam Scott last week. Thankfully and helpfully because of this tool. I don't know if you can see this all that well, but I'm just showing you a screenshot on last week's video. It's kind of a crappy screenshot. Let me see what I can do here. But anyway, what you'll see is Brooks Koepka was the #1 highest value, and then Adam Scott was #2. And because of the concerns around Brooks Koepka and the knee, and we had kind of talked through that, I think a lot of people defaulted to Adam Scott then being like, oh, this is the value guy that I'm going to bet, and he cashed all of those tickets. So I had him getting to the winning target score about 7% of the time, in which the implied odds from Vegas had him getting there just over a little over 2.5%. So Adam Scott became a play for a lot of people, and congratulations if you cashed that ticket. Looking further down the list, I think there were 22 golfers that received some type of value designation out of 115. Who else was on here? Matt Kuchar was probably 10th on this list. Sung Kang was on this list. Both of them finished highly. Obviously, a lot of these guys whiffed, but it's nice to see Rory was 4th or 5th on this list. So nice to see that a lot of the guys that we perceive to be poppers, guys that will pop up and have really good weeks, did have it last week, and a lot of you were able to capitalize on that. So for this week's WGC Mexico Championship, my personal belief is that there's really only probably 10 or 12 guys who have a legitimate chance of winning this golf tournament. We've seen that from WGCs in the past, that you have to be a stud essentially, and you've got that's who wins these. But let's see what the numbers say. And I'm using 15 strokes gained as our metric for who can win this golf tournament. Now, if Dustin Johnson does what he did last year, which is beat everybody else by 6 shots and beat third place by 10 shots or whatever it was that he did, this number might not work, but it is at least worth a gander. I have Rory being able to get to this win target a little over 13% of the time. Now, his implied Vegas odds are about 14%, a little over 14%. So he's barely just a small negative, which quite frankly is actually pretty impressive considering his 6-to-1 odds here. So if I was really trying to get one of the studs in, he has the best value percentage out of these guys. So he's a -1, but compared to Dustin Johnson, who I have at a -3, John Rahm, who I have at a -7, JT, who I have at a -3.7, like Rory is the best of those guys. So if you want to just have like a sweat come Sunday and you want to bet one guy and hope to have a good look at it, Rory would be in theory the more valuable of those golfers. Moving down, though, it is Adam Scott, fresh off the win last week. So obviously that is boosting up these numbers. Again, I'm using January 1st, 2019 and on. This tool is available on dfsondemand.com. It's underneath this little drop down here, PGA Tournament Predictor. So Adam Scott here offers, the first of the betting favorites to offer, 2.5% value, which is a pretty significant number. Matt Kuchar is also a value. And then I get Leishman and Gary Woodland. Woodland's interesting because Woodland, in theory, should be a pretty good fit for Chapultepec. He's a good driver of the golf ball. It ends up being a very short course because they're playing at altitude. That one makes a logical sense to me, as well as a what am I looking for? The math says it, but I also am trying to vet this through my own brain as well. So I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 golfers that are receiving a plus positive value number here. They're Adam Scott, which is only 2.5%. That's not a whole lot. Well, I guess it is, but we've seen bigger in other weeks. Kevin Na, who always is going to appear on this list because he's so volatile. Mark Leishman. Those are the only 3 guys over 1% of value percentage. And then Kuchar's here, Ches Reavie is here, Sung Kang shows up again, Gary Woodland, Benny On with his baby swag, Lucas Glover, and Jason Kokrak. That's it. Obviously, some of those guys are pretty deep. I would not really feel comfortable betting them to win the golf tournament because they are so deep. But out of these guys, you're looking at an Adam Scott again, who's what, 18-1, maybe like a Leishman at 55 or a Gary Woodland at 55. I think those pass both the statistical test and the eye test for me. And then if you just really wanted to get someone who has the best chance, and of the studs, I think he's better than the other studs, it would be Rory at 6. Let's see what else we can go find on some of these matchups real quick. Before we do matchups, here's what I'm actually going to do. I'm going to bring over the DraftKings Sportsbook here. I do not live in a state where I can use this, but I know as this, as sports betting continues to grow and gets legalized more places, I'm just trying to find a U.S. based book that some people can access and just constantly use that, so that we're not jumping around like, hey, I never got that line, I never saw that line anywhere, anything like that. So this is what I'm using. I'm using DraftKings. So my personal feelings out of this, and again, this is not necessarily based on the numbers or any metrics or anything like that we just went through. I already did bet Bryson. He's currently 28-1 on the DraftKings Sportsbook. I got him at 33 earlier in the week. To me, I need upside, right? I need guys that can win the golf tournament. Bryson is someone who won 5 tournaments in like a 17-year stretch. That would not be very good. A 17-month stretch, and seems to be figuring everything out, especially with the driver. And that, I believe, is going to be the club this week at Chapultepec that is going to be the most valuable for these golfers. So I'm looking at Bryson as I bet as an outright, and then really, he's about as deep as I'd want to go in terms of outrights. I really think, Rory down to Bryson, they suck up the vast majority of the win equity in this field. I did also get a top 5 on Louis. He's 5.5-1 on DraftKings right now. I think that's what I got him at. 5.5, 6, something like that. I'd have to go check. But to me, you can't ask Louis to win a golf tournament because he doesn't win golf tournaments. He continues to pile up these top 5s, these top 10s on the Euro Tour, doing exactly what Louis does. Has a ton of major and WGC experience. Happy to back that in a top 5, top 10 type of situation. And then as you go deeper, this is all to me about top 5s and top 10s, specifically top 10s, like a Sung Jae at 4.5-1 to finish in the top 10. Like, makes a ton of birdies, can keep himself in contention over the course of 4 days. He doesn't have to worry about a cut. Had a very rare missed cut last week. He probably shouldn't be this low. I saw that they moved, where is Bernd Wiesberger? Or actually, I think it's pronounced, here it is. Bernd Wiesberger would be the right way to say this. Oh, no, he's still here. 135-1. This guy's the number 22 ranked player in the world, or 23 ranked player in the world. He's ranked higher than Ricky Fowler is. I have a top 10 on him at 8-1 as well. So those are my personal bets. I don't know if I'd fire anything else here. I mean, I've been big on the live betting over the course of the last couple of months or so. So I kind of try not to get too big of a card heading into the week, and then kind of see how it goes here. So let's look at some matchups. Rory versus Rom, DJ versus JT, Webb versus Adam Scott. That one's actually kind of interesting. Adam Scott plus 100, Webb minus 106. Adam Scott's a streaky player. This is not necessarily a course that sets up well for Webb. He's got a couple of 30th place finishes here over the last 2 years. I'm not sure it's a great fit for him. So I'd probably take Adam Scott there, but let's find a good one. What about Reed versus Snedeker? I bet you those guys have some good rounds in. So let's go to the head-to-head matchup tool here, and we will pick Patrick Reed versus Brant Snedeker. Ooh, pretty close. This is pretty clean. I've got Reed at 52% to win this, so his quote-unquote true money line would be something like minus 108. Sned's at plus 108. Let's see what the actual odds were again. Snedeker plus 100, Patrick Reed at minus 118. So, I mean, I don't, that's probably pretty good when you introduce the juice. That is probably as close as it gets. Who else would have a bunch of rounds in the database that I could look at recently? How about Spieth versus Kisner? Spieth is minus 125 against Kevin Kisner. I wonder what Kiz has here. Oops, I'm so bad at clicking. There we go. Kisner versus Spieth. This is, of course, I spelled his name wrong, over a 4-round tournament matchup. Oh my gosh, look at this. I'm picking out all of the closest ones. I guess DraftKings... See, okay, this actually makes me kind of feel good and correct about this model that I have here. When my numbers match very closely to the numbers that the sportsbook are offering, I'm like, oh, I must be doing something right here. So this tool is available on dfsondemand.com as well. It's called the head-to-head betting matchup tool. You can put anyone in here. I have this at basically dead even. Jordan Spieth, 50.1% to win this over 4 rounds. Kevin Kisner, 49.8. I believe Kisner is getting plus money, though. A little bit. Plus 110. Jordan Spieth is minus 125. So I certainly wouldn't be taking the Jordan Spieth side of it. The Kevin Kisner side might be a bit more interesting. So you can go through and mess around with these head-to-head matchups, but really good to see that a lot of them do correspond with what the actual lines are. And then, finding the ones with, a couple of points in either direction might be of note. I'm not shilling for DraftKings Sportsbook. Not yet, at least. I'm open. If DraftKings Sportsbook would like to sponsor these videos, I'm certainly open to shilling for it. But I'm so jealous of those of you who have access to this because, I mean, look at all these options. Tournament specials, round 1 matchups. They've got the groups. They've got 6 shooter groups for round 1. So round 1, you can bet who's going to have the best score. DJ, Xander, Casey, Answer, Kisner, Molinari. I wonder, how do they, I guess maybe they do dead heat if 2 of these guys tie or 3 of these guys tie. I'd have to look up what they have here. But, this is so much fun. This looks awesome, by the way. Round 1 pairings here, so you can do your 3 balls. So you can do, Benny On, Scott Hend, and Terrell Hatton. I assume that's the group going out all together tomorrow. Actually, Terrell Hatton probably getting a lot more love than I expected coming off of that wrist procedure. This is so cool. So in the course of the next couple of weeks, look at this. Top players by college, top Arizona State player, total birdies for DJ, John Rahm. Oh man. Round 1 score for DJ over under 68.5. This is okay. So what I'll do, is as I start to elaborate on the betting tools on dfsondemand.com, currently we have the tournament predictor, we have the head-to-head matchups. I will try to create some tools for these as well. Like maybe we pick a player, DJ over 68.5, under 68.5, looking at his recent rounds, maybe what he's done here in Mexico, stuff like that might be interesting. So if there's anything specific you would like to see me build out for, some of these prop bets or some of these offerings that we have here, let me know. Tweet me. It's at RickRunGood. Leave a comment below. Best of luck this week, and I'll talk to you guys soon.